so since we have the male end or the smaller end on this side, on the right side, and the rebar's there, what we're gonna do is turn around and take this side and do the exact opposite. It's gonna look like it's rolling into each other. So it's gonna have the smaller end going on bottom on this side, and then the big end on top. So that way, as you put your end up, it's gonna go over and around, and it's going into each other. So make sure one end has got, it looks like it's just circling and looping around. So one end has got the small end up as it runs into the caterpillar tunnel top, and the eaves over here once we start getting those up. And then the other end will actually run with the smaller, the jagged end into the ground. So it's just one big loop basically connecting together with self-tapping screws. So we got the first bow up. And so the book tells you to, don't put the legs on it yet, build your bows basically on the ground and then stand them up as you go. With me working just one man and also wanting to make sure my bow is straight, self-tapping screws, I don't want to screw it in and have to unscrew it and screw it in if they're not completely straight. So I'm gonna get mine up, get it set, and really I'm gonna allow the self-tapping screws to be kind of towards the end. Now, if a storm comes, it could sway them, it could knock them over until I get it all done. But ultimately, I know once I put my self-tapping screw in, it's straight, it's ready, and I'm only doing that once. So we've got the first bow up. We've got a few more to go. Now we're gonna knock them out right quick. We've got them all up. Ms. Mac had to come put a hand on them too to kind of hold that one side as I got the other up. But you see how you can kind of get them straight, make sure they look good before you actually start putting the final touches on them, and and actually screwing them together with the self-tapping screws. Me, what I was finding is, you see how this one's kind of crooked? Let's see, hold on. You see how that one right now is just crooked? It's not screwed together. But because my land is so unlevel, for me to self-tap them and get them straight on the ground and then put them up, I was afraid I was gonna have that. Well, now since they're up, I can straighten those up. I can straighten them as I go, to where now I've got straight bars all the way down. Now, if it's easier and you have a flat spot, if you're doing your main, all your bracing and bracketing on the ground, this level, hard surface where you can do the self-tapping, it's a lot easier to do it on the ground versus doing it in the air. However, if you pre-drill your holes or you self-tap like you're supposed to, holding it, bracing it, you're going to get a little bit more square and even as you go. You see the first 5 or 6, the 6th one right there. All those are completely straight. And you see that one's got a little wiggle on it because I haven't got to that point yet. But it does allow me to work a little bit more diligently and a little bit slower, but it makes them where I believe they're a little bit straighter. Now, you can go ahead and put the purlins on as well. I'm not doing that just because I'm gonna run out of daylight before we finish. I've been out here for about 45 minutes. So putting them together and actually getting the hull, the skeleton part of the unit done was very easy. It took about 30 minutes. Doing the self-tapping, straightening it again, it's kind of like straightening up the ground. It takes a little bit. So that's what actually I've spent probably 5 to 10 minutes getting them put together, and another 30 to 45 minutes actually straightening them up, self-tapping as I go. I'm about halfway there. I'm actually on the halfway point and on that same piece going down. So you're going to do 4 self-tapping screws for each part as it connects to each other. Once we get that done, then we'll do the bracing. Then we'll do the actual center purlins for because we did the Gothic style caterpillar tunnels. Then we'll run the center purlin all the way down. So it's come together. It's actually come together a little bit easier than I thought. When I first got the boxes, I was a little nervous because I was thinking, man, there's a lot of pieces, and I just don't know if I can get this done. It's actually a little overwhelming because it was like 4 or 5 different boxes, a big booklet, but it really has been good. Farmers Friends booklet has been phenomenal. It's been spot on. It's helped me walk straight through it. So I can't say enough good things so far. I'm excited, really excited. About 3 hours in total, and we've got the whole frame done, fully connected to itself with self-tapping screws, all 4 pieces. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actually, because the 2 pieces at the bottom. So 5 pieces all connected, all 11 pieces to make this 14 by 50 tunnel. This is the 5-foot versus the 4-foot spread on your bows here. So now the last thing that we have to do when we come to actually this structure, before we start doing anything else, is we're going to come in and put the center pieces in that the purlins will bolt to. we'll put the wind barriers in that will go oblique and pretty much go all the way down the high tunnel as well, or the caterpillar tunnel. And that way we have a good supportive base for the unit. Then we'll worry about actually anchoring it to the ground. The main thing is having the structure up. It did rain today, so it did slow us down. We couldn't get out here until literally around 4:30 to 5. You see the sun's starting to set. Actually, it's about 5:30 or 6, excuse me. But the sun is starting to get a little lower behind the clouds, and it's time to eat. So we're gonna call it a night tonight, but I'm very pleased. You know, other than Aiden having a little helping hand here and there, Misty having a little helping hand here and there, it's pretty much been a one-man show doing it. So you can do this by yourself. It's not going to be hard. I figure I'll have a total of about 8 to 10 hours in it when it all is said and done, unless Aiden's able to help after school tomorrow, or Misty's able to come out here and help. So I'm very pleased with it. It looks really good. I'm excited about it. This helps our growing season, guys. Remember, food is scarce now. People don't realize how much, if you control the food, you control the world. And that's so true. It's not just money. Money is in energy and power, and money's in energy, power, and food. So make sure we understand that we need to control our own food, make sure we can feed our families, take care of our families, and kind of walk through this tough time that we're going through as a nation right now. Then we were able to get the wind barriers in, all the purlins. The purlins go on every other bow, and then we also put the actual center connector in all the way. Now I will be honest, these self-tapping screws on the center purlin was hard. They didn't want to go. Also, when we were trying to put at the very first and end bow, we had to put the connector right there. That was hard because you had nothing to help push against your purlins, and no counterweight because you were trying to hold the pole, hold the U-bracket that actually holds the center support in to the bow. It was just hard. But all in all, again, I'm very excited about the Farmer's Friend 14x50 greenhouse, or high tunnel. We're fixing to start putting the actual bisqueen, or the greenhouse plastic on. The only thing that we're holding up for, we've got it somewhat anchored, but when I say anchored, we're in Mississippi, so our storms can get kind of bad. So this still kind of moves a little bit. I don't think it would go anywhere, but as much time and effort and money I've put into this thing. So since it's permanent, what we're gonna do is actually put wood around the bottom. Also, we're gonna drive stakes in the ground, metal stakes, to where we can adhere it to the post, to each bow. Not that it needs that, but I think with our wind, and also because ours is more permanent, we wanna make sure it is there, not moving, and stationary before we put this plastic on it. I just don't want it to be like an umbrella and blow away. We're gonna do a little bit more additions to it before we go any further, and we just wanna tighten it up a little bit. At this point, I've spent probably 5 hours total on it. Aiden did help me when it comes to actually putting the wind braces up. The center purlins I did by myself, and that was probably the hardest part, doing by myself. I probably would not advise that next time. I would have rather had help. So we got one more to put up after this greenhouse is done. So I'm gonna have a little bit more help on it. So we've been foraging, huh?
So I knew a long time ago that we had a muscadine randomly off in the woods on the other side of our property. We had a little bit of dead time while we had some waters filling up, and I said I want to go check it. And look at this, we totally scored.
Fresh muscadines.
This is growing in the wild. And they're all over there, so we are so excited. I knew that they were back here. I found them last year. I knew that they were back here, but now we have them. So exciting. So there's some more up there, y'all see? And they're randomly, well, quit eating them.
I'm sorry, they're pretty good.
You said they're still a little bitter though, huh?
A little at the end.
And then I also found an elderberry right here. Yeah, our ones at home are still green too. So cool. We loved to
right there.
come out and look for stuff. Now the ones that there's several that we found that were not producing any fruit.
Like possum grapes, right?
Yeah, but we did find some possum grapes that did have grapes on them. But we were so far deep in the woods that we couldn't really get to them. But we found them, and we're going to be looking into some propagating next and trying to get some of these closer to the house. So very, very cool.